What's up, everybody? It's Thursday, April 23rd, and you are on the Constant MTG show. I'm your host, Jared, and I am here with me is a special guest. He actually is noted as inventing and patenting the 7.5-inch Twizzler. Is Ian? How you doing, Ian? We got a great show tonight.
I'm good. I'm here to promote obviously our amazing Magic the Gathering YouTube channel, but also my finest product, the 7.5-inch Twizzler, um, an American classic, truly. And I'm sorry for all you Red Vines fans, but
I heard you got screwed on the royalties. Like, what's the story here? How did this all happen?
so here's the thing. It's a true Thomas Edison Tesla type story.
Tell me.
I came in with the idea for a 7.5-inch Twizzler, and the Twizzler company took the idea and they said, "This is great. We'll get back to you on Monday. This is amazing. This is going to make you. This is going to be your ticket to stardom in the candied food industry."
By the way,
And I said,
unprecedented. 7.5-inch Twizzler is unprecedented at
"It
this point.
was. Listen to me. Like when I came to the table with this, the jaws that hit the table you could hear from outside the conference room. It was just crazy. So the Monday morning came, didn't hear anything. Checked my email. Guess what? Locked out of my at twizzlers.com account.
Get out of here. In the 1960s? That's unbelievable.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But we're
So
happy to have you here, Ian.
I'm
And
glad to be here. I'm glad I finally found a safe circle of humans that I can associate myself with. I log into my email every morning and it's a triggering event for me because every Monday morning when I check my email, I think this is it. This is going to be the time when my constant MTG email is going to be discontinued. So I've worried about sharing my ideas. I have trust issues, and you guys have given me a safe space to heal. So I do appreciate you.
well, we're glad you're healed up. We're glad that you're also a fan still of Red Vine or of Twizzlers after they did you so dirty. But
Listen, man, it's like I'm eating my achievement every time I have one.
achievement
So
unlocked, Twizzler
mhm.
Kid. How many of those are you gonna pound tonight? Just curious. What's your
Dude, it's kind of like turns into like a mindless consumption.
I
So
gotta tell you, I gotta tell everybody real quick. We could see Zach in the producer booth, and he is
he's just
not
like, dude,
thrilled with
he's
any
like,
of this.
shut up,
He's
move
he
on.
is upset. He is
Let's
upset
move
right
on.
now.
Let's move
He's,
on.
let's do it. We got a great show tonight. We've got some cracker packs that I'll open. We've got our first topic is pre-release and limited winners and
Mhm.
losers, and so Zach and I have a list of 5 cards, combination of winners and losers, things that we thought would be great and either overperformed or underperformed.
Yep.
Love to hear from you in chat from your pre-release too. You could pop in some cards that really did well or that you thought were going to do well that weren't that great. Later on, Ian's going to take us through a deck tech. It's
Yep.
Hazezon.
Mhm.
And quick plug, you can see Hazezon play right now because Constant misplays. The new episode dropped yesterday,
Yep.
and the Hazezon deck is on there. So very timely. Very
It's in
timely.
there. It did a ton of nothing because Zach just ran train with goblins. Spoiler alert, sorry, but it's a blowout. It's a blowout, y'all. Zach's deck did everything it should do and more. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
That's right. It is. Well, it's not really a spoiler because very quickly you will find
You,
that
it
you know
doesn't take
exactly what's
long.
going to happen. It
It
doesn't take
doesn't
long,
take very long.
but
Goblin
somehow
Recruiter
the
on turn two is
yeah
basically
into
that was
like the
it.
perfect 5 card. Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see. It's a short episode, still extremely entertaining. And I will
It
say
was
this,
funny,
Zach.
dude.
This was Zach's Cinderella moment, to be honest. Like he
This was
put the
good.
glass slipper on, and This is probably
It
the
fit,
best
baby.
he's ever going to do with that deck.
With that deck, yeah. With his editing skills, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah, we've got
The
so
iceberg.
much more to
Some of
cover.
the edits that Zach did were freaking hilarious
Yep.
in this latest episode. So definitely check it out.
Check it out. All right. So before we get into our winners and losers, should we do some Crack-a-Pack? Should we do that real quick? These things have been burning a hole in my pocket. I've been wearing my dungarees every day, and I've had these 3 packs in my dungarees, and they've been burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah.
All right.
It's rough to own pants and unopened boosters.
I got a blue and a purple. And my son, by the way, he thinks that this little guy, this little goblin painter boy, is Asterion from Baldur's Gate, which I think is hilarious. And so I may make an Asterion deck. I think it's the white hair. And then I got a collector booster. So, chat, where are we going first? What part of Archivos are we going to?
I'll vote verbally. I think we should do the normal boosters and then end with a collector's booster. End it on a high note or a really low note. Knowing you'll probably just pull like all uncommons.
Cheeser says purple, so we'll go purple.
Let's do it.
Let me tell you what I'm trying to pull here. I'm trying to pull the super premium reprint of Hexing Squelcher. Let's see if we get it.
Zach in the producer booth looking up prices as we go along.
Hello, Zach.
Zach is he's like the Patrick Swayze to our stream right now. He's ghosting us and giving us prices as we go through.
And yelling at us silently from that producer booth. All right.
Someone has to be some support.
We got Bulk Up.
Mystical
Archive.
I love this card in that treatment. All right, here we go. Oh,
you blew past the rare, dude. You like blew right through that pack.
The rare is
before the Mystical Archive.
Is before the Mystical Archive.
Oh man! All right, hold on. Hold please. I didn't.
I agree with Cheeser. That was a pretty mid move right there. That was
a mid pack, is what it was. Oh, no big deal. I got a Emeritus Ancestral Recall guy. No,
you didn't.
Harmonized Trio. It's the Brainstorm. Prepared.
All right. So, what's your guess? What's your guess for this pack?
Hold on. Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Let me guess. Let me see what this thing does. It's 2 words, and so oftentimes a rare that the card name is 2 words is more expensive, premium. I'm gonna say $2 and a nickel. $2.05. Final answer.
Okay, right, $2.05.
Your rare is a whopping 90 cents, Jared.
Ooh.
Get out of here.
Spot on today.
Your Mystical Archive, 26 cents, and your foil, 37 cents.
Okay.
Wow. All right. We're going blue now. Come on, boy, blue. Asterion
booster. Let's go.
I really wanted an Emeritus of Woe, by the way. So that would be my most desired pick, actually. Ooh, this one's spicy. When you have to fight with the booster pack, I feel like it's a good sign. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Getting nervous.
Okay. One more,
and then 2 rare.
Oh,
dueling.
Shattered Sanctum.
Shattered Sanctum's good. I'll take that. That's a good one. And then our Mystical Archive is a Royal Treatment.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Shattered Sanctum.
What's your foil? What's
the foil?
Oh my God. I almost put the whole pack away. I forgot all about it. You guys are about to be blown away. I think we hit big here, boys and girls. How about one of these bad boys?
Ooh.
The blue Paradigm with a special, is this the Field Notes version?
That's the Field Notes version.
Foil?
Yep.
Okay. All right. We're on to something here.
That's not bad.
We're on to something. So I'm going to say, well, let's start off with the land. I think the Shattered Sanctum is $1.25 is what I'm going to go with. It enters tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're keeping a 3-lander, you just play this one third and you're all set.
Yeah.
So that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $1.25. $1.25 on that one.
All right, so you
Let's
are
see.
actually below rate. It was $1.55.
Ooh.
Okay. $1.50 plus that nickel. Borrow the nickel from the last one. All right. Royal Treatment, I think, is trash. So I'm going to say that is 35 cents.
Royal Treatment is going to be 19 cents.
Ooh. Okay.
Do it. And then this Echo Casting Symposium.
Yes. Mythic Rare Foil. What's your guess?
Mythic Rare Foil Field Notes version. I'll flash it. It's quite pretty, and it's actually, I really like the blue one because you're creating a copy of a creature every turn for the rest of your life. Okay?
Target player too. You can kill people. You can kill people with Phage with that card.
That's right. That's right. Unlike Social Security, this is never running out. This is going to the end.
To the bank, baby.
I still think $18.
Oh, sorry to tell you, it's $4.77.
Get out of here!
Don't just throw it. Oh my god,
that's so brutal, man.
It's a great card.
This set is amazing, but the values, I don't know why the values are where they are. All right.
Now it's time for the collector booster.
So those 2 boosters I won in the pre-release, so we'll call those freebies. But now we need to hit 25 smackaroonies worth of value to make it here. All right, there we go. Oh man, a parafractal, love that.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Common. Oh, the newt. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're gonna hit a land before the good stuff, I think.
Okay, we got a Sleight of Hand.
Sleight of Hand.
The art's cool. It's a good card. So
it's a good card. It's
that's
usable.
Cool. You got another bulk up.
This is like the 5th bulk up I've gotten. It is nice foil treatment there. All right, here's our land. This is where we're gonna make it all back, baby.
There it is. Here it is.
All right. First rare is whatever this is. What is it? Mind into Matter. I'm gonna say that's it's foil. I'm gonna say $1.05. 105.
Let's take a look here. Foil Mind into Matter is going to be 72 cents.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Oh, another land.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is the Turbulent. This is the Turbulent Fen. I need this one. Okay, I'm already happy. Extended art, not a foil. The Cinnamon Roll lands.
Cinnamon Roll.
I think these are going to pop up. I think these are going to be very good over time. I'm going to say right now, $9.
Turbulent Fen, borderless, pretty close, $8.76.
Okay. I really want to get a set of these. These are fantastic. All right, Turbulent was a good hit. All right, who do we have here? This is Nita, the Forum Conciliator. Conciliator. I can't even say it. Get in there.
Conciliator.
I keep on thinking of consigliere. I keep on thinking of Billy Crystal and analyze that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it does. Let me read it and then I'll give you a value here. Cool art, cool lady. 1 white-black, 2/3 legendary creature, human advisor. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I hope there's a clause here about casting spells you don't own. 4/2, sacrifice another creature. Exile target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. You may cast it this turn, and mana of any type could be spent to cast that spell, and you exile it instead of put it into the graveyard. Okay. This is actually kind of an interesting commander. We know that these commander legendary creature deals are not usually super expensive, so I'm gonna say no more than $4, but I'm gonna say it's $1.75. $1.75 on that one.
Pretty close. 236 for this guy.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
236. All right. All right. Next one. Here we go. What is that?
Ooh, Brotherhood's End. That's
And what is that?
It's from Brothers War originally. It's a modal.
Okay, so it's 1 red. Choose one. Brotherhood's End deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Yeah, I'm into that. I like it. I'm gonna say it's $4. $4 on the extended art Brotherhood's End. Little
Brotherhood's
board wipe
End.
action.
Is it a foil?
It is not, but I could spit on it and rub it a little bit and make it shiny.
That would probably increase the value. It's at 49 cents.
Come on. All right, here we go. The next one. Oh, it's another field note.
That looks nice. What we got?
This is
The
the
one with the
red
archaics?
archaic. This is the Magma Blood archaic.
Okay.
It is 2 colorless 3 times or 3 red. So it's hybrid mana, 2 colorless or red 3 times. I don't know how to say that simply.
Yep.
It's a 2/2 trample reach, converge. This creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. So you can actually, because of the 2 colorless on each of those pips, you could get it up to all 5 colors, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so it could come down as a 7/7. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn for each color of mana spent to cast that spell. It's an avatar. I'm gonna, I don't know, $3.12.
$3.88 for the field notes foil.
Okay.
Okay, so total bust, but cool art. I have noticed with Strixhaven, the art is amazing. The set looks and plays great. The value, not there yet, but maybe it's slow. Maybe it's a slow grow.
Slow burn.
And then I did get an Inkling token. The token art's super cool, and then on the other side, a Spirit token.
We might have
great.
gone through, blazed through the commons and uncommons, but did you get what's the blue card that's blowing up right now? Flow State. Did you get a Flow State?
Flow State, yeah.
Blue. Let's ask my mom. Let's see. How much is Flow State right now?
It's like a few bucks.
Flow State, let's see, $6 in its normal printing, and $7.
Holy moly.
Almost $8 in foil.
$6.
This is the only printing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first printing, first press.
Okay.
Old pressed olive oil on that one.
Yeah, it's already seeing like play in like some of the early standard decks. It's very sleight of handy, stock up-ish. So
yeah,
any sort of bit of that card selection is something those Izzet players look out for.
And you get to like basically draw 2 for 2 and look at 3. It's good. It's good stuff.
In all of your sage wisdom, Zach, where do you think 6 months from now, where do you think that card sits price wise?
I mean, I see it probably going in the realm of, it's not as good as stock up because it does have the restriction of, I mean, you can put 2 into your hand if you have an instant and a sorcery card in your graveyard. So that could bring it down a little bit. I mean, stock up is like $4, I think, right now.
Yeah.
So I see it probably ending up in like maybe
$4
the $4 range. Maybe go down a little bit.
Go look through your pre-release packs, y'all, and see if you can find Flow State because that goes in the binder right now. And if you can get rid of it, I would just do it. Do it now.
That's like
if you're not going to play it, I'd dump it.
Yeah, when Fatal Push came out in Kaladesh, I pulled a foil Fatal Push, and I traded that thing for like $30 because it was hot when that set was in standard. It's crazy. I was like, $30 is an uncommon. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. All right. Well, that's all the packs I've got for tonight.
Well, your grand total for your 3 packs brings you to $21.91 richer.
Nailed it.
I'll cry about it later. I guess 2 of them were sort of free, so 2 of them were skill packs. Okay, I got them
from your pre-release.
That's right.
Nice.
Which
all right,
segues us pretty nicely into our next. Yeah,
it does.
Great segue. Ian, how did your pre-release go? Which seed pack did you pick, and how did you feel about it?
I didn't participate in pre-release, so I'm not participating in this section. But I did buy some pre-release seed packs, and I got a couple cool things, but I didn't participate. So I'm gonna hand it over to you and Zach, and you're gonna dig right in to what was hot, what was not.
Let's do a little hot or not pre-release edition. Carl is chewing on a headphone cable, and he may make an appearance here. But
That's
Zach, why don't you go first, man?
Yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off. So let's go ahead and move into my list. So I came up with 5 cards that I thought were overperformers, and then I saw Jared's list had a 6th card in it that was an underperformer, and so I had to add a 6th card.
Love it.
So let's go ahead and just start it off here with, I think, the card that I actually am putting into decks. This one, first off here, Tablet of Discovery. I love this card a lot. It is a mana rock. It is for 2 and a red. It's an artifact, and when it enters, you get to mill a card, and you may play that card this turn, which is pretty color pie breaky for red. Like, usually you're impulse drawing, you're usually not milling in red. But this very clearly goes into like a lore hold sort of package, dealing with your graveyard and such. So it fit pretty nicely into my Mardu deck that I went into. I started Witherbloom, and it was just terrible. And Jared has experience with that.
Yeah, my Witherbloom was actually pretty good.
Yours was great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, I could see it. Yeah, Tablet of Discovery seems like a great one. I wish I had gotten a chance to draft Boros. I was kind of interested in lore hold stuff. But we'll do it on draft. We'll do it on Rough Draft, hosted by Jared and Ian, and no longer Zach.
All right, let's move on to the next card. All right, so the next card I wanted to talk about, this is a great common card. It's called Last Gasp, and I use this in both of my Witherbloom and my Mardu decks. Last Gasp is an instant for 1 and a black, and target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Reason why this is so good is why... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I hadn't seen that one yet. And, I drafted a ton of targeted removal on Rough Draft. And then in my pre-release pack, I got a bunch of targeted removal. I haven't seen this one, and it's a common. It's very good.
Yeah, this one is awesome. I've done it in my limited that I've done off screen. I did it in my pre-release. I got a couple of them. What's so great about these minus effects is that it completely goes around indestructible, because if something just reaches 0 toughness, it goes away whether it's indestructible or not.
Yeah, great one. I like this one a lot. It's reminding me of Dead Weight, which is 1 mana for -2/-2, and it's an enchantment, so not quite a dead weight, but I don't know. It's just got that Dead Weight, Last Gasp. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
simple, but
there was an instant, I can't remember what it was called, from Lore and Eclipse that was kind of similar, but it did I think -4/-4 counters or something like that. It was a pretty on-rate effect, so I feel like paying 2 mana for this kind of removal is pretty good.
One other thing I'll call out here is I did notice there's quite a bit of sorcery speed targeted destruction in this set, but instant speed, there's not a ton to work with. So this is quite good at being able to hold up some mana.
Yeah, you do have to work around the timing a bit with some of the cards. And then another card that I was actually super happy with is the Dawning Archaic.
Oh.
Now, Dawning Archaic is 10 colorless to cast, but it costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Not hard to reduce this by quite a bit in a set that's all about instant and sorceries. On its face, on the floor, it's a 7/7 with reach. If that wasn't already enough, where you could basically, sometimes cast it for free. Whenever it attacks, you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And if it would be put into your graveyard, you exile it instead. You do get to ignore timing restrictions, so you can cast sorceries just when this thing attacks.
Super cool. Super cool. The Archaics have proven to be pretty formidable. Somebody wiped me out in one of the games on draft, I think, with an Archaic, and they're good. They are good.
This is a super interesting one because it's a legendary creature. So my first thought when I saw this is okay, I want to build a deck around this. Very hard to do because a lot of the colorless instant and sorcery cards either suck or just don't really work in a colorless deck. There's some converge colorless cards that brings you down a number. So it's hard to kind of really justify it if you want to go sort of colorless spell slinger, which I thought was a really interesting idea for a deck. But we're just gonna have to wait for some more support before that can happen.
One day, and not far off in the future either. Magic is
maybe not
tricking in little pieces of support for that archetype, so I'm excited about that too.
My next one here is another card that could be a commander. I don't think it's great as a commander, but it was really good in my pre-release. Is Kyril History Buff. So this is the second version of Kyril that we've seen since Lorwyn Eclipse. Red and a white to cast. He's a 2/3 vampire cleric, and then he is a prepared creature, but his clause is whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, Kyril becomes prepared. Doesn't enter prepared, so you do have to put a little bit of work in, but it's not that hard to do if you are in red and white, because there's a lot of flashback in the set. You're doing either reanimating or just returning stuff from graveyard to hand. And the prepared spell is a 1 and red and white Pack-a-Punch. It's a sorcery. You mill a card and put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It gains trample until end of turn. This ended up becoming such a threat in my deck that my opponent cast some spell that put 20 stun counters on this thing. I never got to swing with it again. But you can still cast prepared spells, so I was putting all my counters on other creatures. Thanks for coming around, Cheeser. Thanks for enjoying the stream with us.
Yeah. See you later, Cheeser. Now, okay, so I don't want to comment on the card's power because I think that's obvious. It is very good, especially if you could repeat it. But what a weird color pair / creature type combo. Vampire cleric, red, white, and sort of a history thing. I don't know. This is a very unique vampire in terms of lore and flavor, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I want to know more about a lot of the characters. I think Tam is going to be the character that we're going to see and hear from the most based off of the story. If you guys, if any of the audience members, or if you guys either caught up on it, but she's going to be very crucial, I think, to the upcoming story in Reality Fracture, and I'm really excited to see where her lore goes and these other students as well.
Yep. Love it, man.
All right. My last overperformer is Dig Site Inventory. It's another common. It's a single white mana. It is a sorcery, but it says put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains vigilance until end of turn. Vigilance is so good in a limited format where you want to be attacking and blocking, but you can't necessarily always do both with your big creature. And this puts a +1/+1 counter on your best creature, and you can attack and then block with it. And it has flashback of just a single white mana. So 2 whole total mana for 2 counters and vigilance twice.
Yeah, this one feels like just a strictly 2-for-1. You're going to use it, and it could be a 2-for-2. I mean, you're going to use it oftentimes to hedge your combat. It's a sorcery, so you can't use it as a combat trick per se.
Yeah.
But you're going to make blocking difficult. You got vigilance, so you're going to make it hard for them to attack on the backswing. This is definitely an overperformer I considered, and in draft the other night when I drafted Silver Quill, this thing was a beast. So
yeah,
I am a fan as well.
Very good card. All right, and then underperformer, a card that I thought was going to be great, and then I reread it in my pre-release, and I see people making the same mistake that I did. So I wanted to talk about it because if you really have to build around this card very specifically for it to work. It is Fix What's Broken. It is a sorcery for 2 white and black. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you pay X life, and you return each artifact and creature card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not X or less. It is strictly mana value X.
I for a second I was like, yeah, this looks pretty good. What's happening here? But yeah. I see it now.
Well, and because what's interesting is like the Witherbloom version of this, I forget what it's called, is basically the same effect, except it's destroy each artifact and creature with mana value X or less. So one half of this cycle is X or less, and the other half is not, which is just really weird.
Yeah, it begs to ask the question, like, how does Wizards value reanimation over destruction? And I don't know that I would have considered destruction to be the cheaper of the two, but I guess it is. I guess they value it a little bit higher. Reanimation, that is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, reanimation is a very powerful effect, but so is also board wiping.
Yep. Well, and to me on this one, you're paying X life. So if you're trying to reanimate some crazy giant thing from your graveyard, like, you are spending a lot to do so. Like, spending 7 life to reanimate is not nothing. So it does seem like they could have very easily done X or less on this one. But
for sure,
I'm sure that got fleshed out in playtesting.
Those are my cards. I mean, just overall, this was actually pretty hard to choose because I thought that everything was really good, for the most part. Like, I'm so excited to do more drafts of this with you guys, and just like even just watching you guys get drafts in, it's just been so much fun. It's such an awesome set.
Yep, I can't agree more. I think Strixhaven has been a surprise hit in terms of playability. Like, I love the lore, I love the flavor, but it wasn't one of the sets that I was super excited about until about a month ago, and spoiler season kicked in, and I just felt like, all right, I'm in.
Yep.
Hunter said in Commander, Fix What's Broken would be completely busted, and I agree. You're right, Hunter. They could not have done X or less in Commander.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now,
spending 4 mana and 8 life to reanimate the whole thing is pretty crazy.
Whether or not it should or shouldn't be, I think is one thing, but like, I think it's just the fact that, like, if you read the Witherbloom version first, you kind of go into this one thinking it's the same thing. Your brain kind of fills in, at least my brain filled in the blank there. Even when deck building. So that's why I put it as an underperformer for the most part.
I think this was one of my rares from my pre-release pack, but I didn't go with Silver Quill, so I sort of overlooked it, I suppose.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of which, let's go on to onto your cards here. So let me go ahead and switch to your list. All right.
So, first up, so let me just say this. In terms of targeted removal, this is not a very glamorous card, but oh my gosh, it has done work in both my pre-release as well as when I drafted, and that's the Barrage Barrage. Barrage Barrage, really, really good. That one, Couple of call outs for Barrage Barrage. Barrage Barrage says target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn if you cast another instant or sorcery spell, and then it deals damage equal to its power to up to one target creature an opponent controls. That first clause really not necessary. That I
Doesn't
think
really
the
matter.
2 times it went off, it didn't matter. Like the one extra power didn't really matter. But one of the things I want to call out is Witherbloom does have some big beefy hitters, and so does Quandrix. And there's a fair bit of little mana dorks and things that have death touch. And so I kind of went that route, and it just felt very powerful to barrage things on the board with my little frog with death touch. So I just want to give a shout out there. It ended up being mostly universal removal for creatures for me, and so it was an overperformer.
Yeah, this card is awesome. Like you said, the +1 does not matter. You want to use this on either one of your big beaters or those death touchers, which is great because like I think it's what Noxious Newt is the green one. It taps for green and it has death touch. You just use this on that. You tap it for the mana, so it can essentially be a one mana bite spell. Pretty good.
Yep. Very, very, very good. All right, let's keep moving. I think you had originally hovered over the next card I want to talk about, which is the dissection practice. Love the flavor of this, by the way. Love the artwork. Love the giddy Witherbloom first year, just like having a blast, cutting open a pest.
This
represented a ton of versatility for me, and on 2 occasions was an absolute blowout for my opponent. So target opponent loses a life and you gain a life. That sets you up for Witherbloom's sort of class ability, which is
Infusion.
Infusion, thank you. Which is just as long as you've gained life in your turn, great stuff happens. And so that one's great. You just get the life gain that you need. And then it's there's a cool Kamigawa version of this card where you give a +1/+1 until end of turn and another creature a -1/-1 until end of turn. That card overperformed too. And I think that was 1 and a black. So this is 1 black, instant, gain a life, drain your opponent for 1, give one of your creatures a +1, give one of your creatures one of their creatures a -1, and you basically just full send the whole team. And wait for blocks and then set up something absolutely bananas. This card was insane.
The +1/-1 does so much more than what you would think it does, because if you do cast it like after blockers are declared, you can essentially just think of it as you're giving your creature +2.
Yep. Yeah,
very good card.
+2/+2 essentially. With a drain attached to it in a color pair that wants to see you gain a little bit of life. It just this was an overperform.
Yep.
It looked fine, like it looked like some kind of a cool thing to do, but I think most of the time these cards overperform. And like I said, the Kamigawa one, God, I forget what it was called. It's got cool art of a ninja hanging upside down, but at 2 mana for essentially less of an effect. It was it also was very good and limited.
I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah.
Original Kamigawa or Neon Dynasty?
It should be Neon Dynasty. I think it's Neon Dynasty. Oh man. Just Subtle Strike. Try looking up. I can't believe I pulled that out of the ether. Subtle Strike.
A Zendikar.
Well, I think it's been printed in a couple of things because I don't recognize this art, but
Zendikar and Kaldheim.
Oh, it was in Kaldheim. Interesting.
Or Kaladesh, sorry, Kaladesh.
Yep. So Subtle Strike was the one I was thinking of. Thanks, Zach.
Yep, great
all
effect.
Right. Let's go to the next one. All right. Oh my God. My homie.
This is
the myth comic.
I think this is low-key like the best card in the set.
If I see one of these, I'm going Witherbloom. I'm forcing it. And God forbid I get like 2 of them or more. it's game over. I got to 28 life in one of my games just having 2 of these out. The Bogwater Lumerette is just way way overpowered in the common slot. Way overpowered. It's 1 black, 1 green. Whenever this creature or another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. The key here is it counts itself too, which especially in limited is a real thing.
Huge.
A real
Huge.
thing, and especially in this format with infusion, it's not asking for much, you know. Yeah, this was a great one. Don't attack with them unless you really have a clear way. You don't want to lose these. And I don't think this was in my overperformers, but maybe it is. The card that brings a couple of creatures back from the graveyard is great to bring the Bogwater Lumerette. Really good.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
And then we've got, oh yeah, go ahead. This one's cool too.
Yeah, so this is our hybrid signposting uncommon. This is Essence Knit Scholar. It's 1 black, 1 hybrid black-green, and 1 green. It's a 3/1, and it says when this creature enters, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, and the pests this time gain life when they attack, not when they die, which is nice. And then at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. And so this is sort of like a trigger for your infusion in a box. You get a pest, you attack with it next turn. If they kill it, you get a card. It just kind of does everything you want it to do. And it's great on blocks too. It's a 3/1, so happy to trade this card for a 3/3, for example, or hold it back and try to soak up some cards with it. One piece of note: you won't get a card when it dies because you do have to wait to the end step. So that's maybe the only caveat to this card, but it proved to be very good, very effective.
Yeah, very good card for sure.
All right. Next one. Okay, this is my underperformer. Inkling mascot. I felt like the mascots were all going to be really good, and I think this is the worst one, unfortunately. But it sounded good. It sounded like it was doing a lot of the things I wanted to do when I drafted Silverquill. It's a 2/2 for white and a black. It's got repartee, so it's got the thing, and you're like, all right, cool. Let's play some spells. Whenever you do it, this creature gains flying, and you get to surveil 1. And so again, I'm like, all right, 2/2 flyer, little evasion, little surveil, card selection shenanigans, like sounds good. But it ended up just not really doing anything.
Yeah.
So again, looking at it, I would love to draft this card a few more times and really put it to the test. But the little experience I had with it was underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah. I did get some use out of it in a draft I did yesterday. But like outside of dealing 2, like it just whatever.
Yeah. Yep. You really would hope your 2-mana mascot can swing in for 4 to 6 damage, and maybe get you the equivalent of a card back over that period of time. And this just is getting there.
Yep, for sure.
I do like Witherbloom got, by the way. That thing's busted. That thing's awesome. So when you compare the two, it's like, oh my god. Yeah. All right. Last one. Oh my gosh. Another sort of mythic uncommon in this case. This card, the Scolding Administrator, again on flavor, just great. It's a 2/2 menace. Menace, like we talked about with Vigilance, menace in limited is very, very, very good. It is really, really good. And this one has repartee, and it's probably one of the best ones in the set at the uncommon level. It gives you a +1/+1 counter on this creature every time you cast a spell that targets a creature. And then when it dies, if it's got counters on it, you get to move them to another target creature. So again, this is doing all the stuff you want it to do. It is building up value over time, and then when it dies, you get to cash in on that value. I ran 2 of these in my draft. Go check it out. Rough draft from Tuesday. and you'll see they perform very well.
Very good card. Anytime you get an effect over like a growing creature dying, the only thing that really turns this off is just a board wipe, and there's not a whole lot of them, but there's a really good one. I considered talking about it. It was my promo card, even though that means nothing anymore. Withering Curse, I think, something like that. Yeah, Withering Curse. All creatures get -2, or if you gain life, destroy all creatures. Not hard to do.
Great.
One of the best new board wipes. But yeah, that card is awesome. All these cards are really good, and you can see them do very well. Aside from Inkling Mascot, a little bit of a stinker, but other than that, great.
Love it. All right. Before we get into deck tech, Ian, real quick, how you feel about those over-unders?
I mean, yeah, I was in chat quite a bit. The Inkling Mascot, I could not be any less interested in that card. But Burog Barrage is so good. I'm such a fan of that card. The Bogwater Lumerette, it's just such a cool little guy, little spirit frog, just rocking and rolling, getting you life.
Mm-hmm.
It all made sense. I would agree, especially watching you on Tuesday, Jared, when you played the Scolding Administrator. It just like Menace is really like you don't really think about Menace when you play a lot of Commander because there's just creatures all the time. It's not like super imposing, but when you have it in a limited format and you are constrained in that fashion, Menace it's good. It's really good. It makes you really have to choose what you do against it, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had 2 instances in draft where it came down to the opponent was going to die as long as I had more attackers than they had blockers, and it actually wasn't the number of attackers; it was the fact that I had attackers with Menace that sealed the deal. So
yeah, especially if you have 2 or more menacing menacers, it can be really tough to shut that down.
Yep. Love it. Well, before we get into deck tech, I wanted to just take a second and talk about constantlist.com. You know what, y'all? Finals week at Strixhaven is here, and your deck is due. The problem? Your cards are scattered, your ideas are half-baked, and you're still looking for that Hexing Squelcher in those Lorwyn packs and coming up empty. You got 10 minutes before you're getting called to the table, and that's where Constant List comes in. Instead of digging through boxes like a first year in the Biblioplex, you can instantly sort your collection, filter what you actually own, and build something sharp, fast, and ready to perform. Whether you're solving the equation with Quandrix, going full chaos with Prismari, or pulling something questionable out of the graveyard, like me with Witherbloom, this is how you turn panic into power. Study smarter, build faster, pass the test. That's constant-list.com. And please take a look at our Patreon and our Discord. Our Discord is alive and well with our community, and our Patreon is so easy to support us. All we ask is that you subscribe, you like, you engage with us in chat. But if you got a little extra cash you want to throw our way to help us maintain our server costs and our upkeep, we got Patreon levels at $2, $5, and $8. So as always, we appreciate everybody who contributes. We appreciate just this endeavor in general. It's all about the community. It's all about being community driven, and that's what Constant List is all about, and that's where we started. So just a quick shout out and love to Constant Lists. That's constant-list.com. All right. Let's go to you, Ian.
All right. It's time to also take a moment to shout out our sponsor. Quickly, we will chat about our sponsor, Big Deck Energy Games. Big Deck Energy Games They're a deeply community focused game store out in Cathedral City, California, right in the heart of beautiful Coachella Valley. If that sounds familiar to you, it's possibly because you're from California. It also could be because you love golf and go to Palm Springs to do that sport. It also could be because you love music and go to Coachella Music Festival. It also could be because you're a national parks dork and you love going to national parks and you go to Joshua Tree National Park. Any of those three places would be awesome to also play Magic at. So we would suggest going out there. And while you're in their neck of the woods, drop into Big Deck Energy Games, give them a shout, and pick up some product while you're out there from them. They're our first sponsor, and honestly, we couldn't be happier to have them as a sponsor. They're deeply community focused. They're committed to fair pricing in their community, and they're really passionate about the games that they carry. It's the kind of shop where the goal isn't to squeeze every dollar out of their players, but to build a space where people want to play, learn, trade, and just hang out and play games together. The philosophy that they have is one big reason why we're proud to have them as our first business sponsor, and even more excited to be partnered with a store like this that shares the same philosophy that we do, which is let's build the community and then all the rest of the fun stuff will follow from that. So thanks Big Deck Energy Games for all your support, and being just a great game shop for those in your community. And now I believe it's deck tech time.
Deck
Deck
tech
tech
time.
time. Deck tech time.
Take your time. Take your time.
All right. Let me move my keyboard and mouse and things. And yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. Um Tonight I'm deck teching Hazezon, Shaper of Sand. Hazezon is I did play him in the latest Constant Misplays that came out yesterday on our channel. He does do really well. That video doesn't do it justice, but this deck is a lot of fun to play. I'm a sucker for silly mechanics. And when I saw there was a commander that had Desert Walk, I said, where do I sign, please? Let's make that deck. So Hazezon is in Naya. So he's red, green, and white. That's it. Just 3 simple mana to play him. No big deal. He's a human warrior. He's a 3/3. So as I said, he has Desert Walk, which if you're not familiar with land walks, if someone owns a land of that type, your creatures are with that walk ability are unblockable. He also allows you to play desert lands from your graveyard. So we have some land graveyard. If you guys haven't noticed a theme with me, I'm a land graveyard guy. So you can play deserts from your graveyard, and then whenever this is the most relevant and important part here, whenever a desert enters the battlefield under your control, create 2 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature tokens. And there's the Sand Warrior right there. This is really what this deck wants to do. You just want to be churning out deserts, constantly playing them, removing them, bringing them back, finding ways to just recycle them constantly. It's really, really fun. There's some cards in here that I'm excited to share with everybody because they're kind of like, what? I didn't know that existed type of cards. And I leaned in. Originally, this deck was actually a gift deck. So I would gift you deserts, and then I would give all my creatures landwalk, and then I would stomp you. But that actually never worked. I always ended up just winning because of the Sand Warriors, or other mechanics before I did anything silly like that. So I leaned away from that mechanic and just went heavier into the land recycling, into the token generation, and then some other little fun ways to win. So we're gonna get the quick stuff out of the way. The deck runs 10 lands that aren't deserts, 3 forests, 3 plains, 2 mountains. I have a Jetmir's Garden and a command. So pretty basic non-desert land package. As for other cards that are pretty quick to just go through, I'm going to strike these. I know Zach's going to judge me super hard, but I do have an Arcane Signet and a Soul Ring. So those are in there for now. I am going to strike them because I'm on a crusade
Disgusting.
to, lead by example. And the example I want to set in our community is that you can build decks without Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. It's possible. It's very doable.
Whee!
We'll talk about some removal just really quickly. We have Swords to Plowshares, as per usual. We have Path to Exile, because of course we're in white. We have Generous Gift. We have Beast Within. Get into some more specific removal. We have Song of the Dryads. I don't think I run a green deck a lot of times and don't put this in as removal because it's just so versatile. If you've never resolved the Song of the Dryads on anything that's a threat, do it because it's awesome. The next one is just, I thought it was funny. So, and remember, this deck was kind of about giving people stuff too at one point. But it's just kind of stuck in here and I haven't gotten rid of it. But it's Gauntlets of Chaos. This is and the art is also just super silly. But it's a 5-drop artifact and the activated ability costs 5. I've never really had this do anything super crazy, but it's just funny to put out and people are like, what the hell is that? So you pay 5 and sacrifice it, and you exchange control of target artifact, creature, or land you control for control of target permanent of the same type that an opponent controls. And then you bury all enchantments played on those permanents. So if they had auras on them, you would remove those. It's fun. I've switched stuff with people, and it's just kind of funny because they're like, "What? What is this card?" It's an old card. It's only been reprinted a few times. I think it was originally from like Legends or something like that.
Yeah, originally Legends and then reprinted in 5th edition.
Yeah, and the 5th edition is just so goofy. Like, what's going on here? The next 3 are board wipes of some semblance. I love this board wipe. It's one of my favorites. Doomscar. It's so good. It's just really handy. You can foretell it on turn 2 if you don't have anything else to do. And then you can cast it for 3 on a later turn and just it's not Wrath of God, but it's it's destroy all creatures. Or you could just cast it outright for 5. I'm a gross person, so I have Farewell in here. I will make no apology for having that card in here ever. I love Farewell. Again, if you haven't resolved one, you don't know why it's great to have it. And then this removal spell it's really funny to play this because no one knows what it is. And when they figure out what it does, it always gets removed, and that is Hammer Mage. Hammer Mage is so good. It's a 2-drop spell shaper from Arcadian Masks. It's an uncommon. And it's a 1/1, and he's got a fun little hat on. But what he really does is you can pay X and a red and tap him, and then you can discard a card from your hand as per traditional spell shaper abilities, and you destroy all artifacts with converted mana cost X or less. So you could just loop this infinitely every turn. You could destroy everything, and you can pay just a red and tap it and discard and get rid of all your opponent's treasures and all their food and all of their 0-drop artifact tokens that you don't want on the board. It's a really good card. I don't think it's too expensive. It's probably under $1 if I were to guess. If you don't own a copy, I bought a few, I think, when I found it. Because it's just really good. And every time it comes out, it gets removed. Like, I've never had this sit on the board for like more than one activated use of it. Because it is just really, really good. So that's just the basic stuff.
I'm trying to remember in the game we played, where did this go? How did this get removed? I can't remember.
I think somebody somebody pinged it. I think you pinged it with like a shenanigans or something like that. But it
I don't
always
have any
it
creature, but because that
I
would
don't
have
know.
been killer against goblins.
Well, it's all artifacts, so
Oh, it's just artifacts. Oh, I thought it was
yeah, it's
artifacts
just
and
artifacts.
creatures. Never mind.
Yeah. But, it's like, yeah, I have cleared the board of everybody's soul rings, everybody's arcane signets, and less than, right? So everything 2 or less, 3 or less. And you can just do it all the time. It's great. It's Vandal Blast on a card. And also in this deck, discarding a card is actually worth doing, because you probably want to put deserts in there. So without further ado, we'll actually get into the deserts. So I'll start with just the classic. This is one of the cards I am weirdly most proud to own, and it is the original Arabian Nights desert. Just straight up. Um, it's the original. It was way more expensive than I should ever have paid for this card. But it means a lot. It's a cool card. This set is notoriously very expensive to purchase. So it was cool to purchase one and own it and have that little original desert that kind of started it all. Um, the next three are the desert series from originally from Hour of Devastation, I think. So we have Desert of the Indomitable, Desert of the Fervent, and Desert of the True. These all have cycling on them. So cycling actually is helpful in this deck because if I need to draw, I can cycle these deserts and then I can just play them from the graveyard that same turn if I need to. So it's, they're handy. Cycling isn't nothing. It is kind of meaningful to put these in your graveyard. The next three are from the new Outlaws set, and these are the deserts that ping an opponent for 1. And they come in tapped, but they're dual lands. So I get my whole color pie here, and I can just ping for a damage. And that's somewhat of a common theme with deserts is they damage people in some way, shape, or form. The next three are the ability deserts, and these were also from Hour of Devastation. So we have Shefet Dunes, Ramenet Ruins, and Hashep Oasis. They all tap for colorless. You can also pay 1 life to add white, red, or green, respectively. And then they all have an activated ability. Honestly, the only reason these are here is if I have mana up, or if I want to sacrifice a desert, because these are all desert sacrifice outlets, which we'll get to land sack outlets in a minute. The white one taps for 4, sack a desert, creatures you control get +1/+1. No big deal. It's really nothing special. The red one is 4, sack a desert. It does 2 damage to each opponent. Not bad. This actually saw some standard play a long time ago. And then the green one is 3, sack a desert, and target creature gets +3/+3. So there's really nothing special about these. They are truly just there because they're deserts. They tap for colors if I need it, but I can sack a desert with them if I needed to. The next lands are kind of all land color lands. So we have Painted Bluffs. It's just a filter land. That's all it does. Lazotep Quarry is cool. It's also somewhat of a filter land, but you can, instead of paying 1 to get any color, you can actually sacrifice a creature. And what you'll see is we're going to have a lot of creatures to sacrifice. So this gets used a lot more than you would think for the mana of any color. You can also pay X and 2 and sacrifice a desert, again, another desert outlet, and exile a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard. And you basically entomb it, I think was the mechanic, right? So you make a 4/4 black zombie that's a token copy of that card. So you can recur stuff with this if you wanted to. I maybe have used it once, but most of the time I'm using it to make the color of any mana of any color. The next one is Survivor's Encampment, taps for colorless, and you can also tap an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color. Again, very easy to do in this deck. We have Mirage Mesa. When this enters, you choose a color, and you can tap for that color. Pretty simple. Cactus Preserve is next. adds 1 mana of any type of land that you can produce, which is always handy. And then you can also pay 3 and turn it into an XX green plant creature token with reach, where X is the greatest mana value among your commanders. Kind of interesting. So it basically becomes a 3/3 with Hazezon, but the reach is actually pretty relevant. I have blocked things. I have blocked things with flying, and it's actually saved my butt. So that's been handy. So that's the all mana stuff. The next one is Sunscorched Desert. This one is taps for colorless, and when it enters, you ping a player for 1. Pretty simple. I actually have had this do a lot of damage though, because I can recur deserts. So I've had it do quite a bit of damage as I brought it back. The next one's Sandstorm Verge. Taps for colorless. You pay 3. Target creature can't block this turn. It actually is pretty good. Hostile Desert is also taps for colorless, and then you can exile a land from your graveyard to make it a 3/4. I usually don't do that, but it is nice to have a man land in the event something crazy happens. Aired Archway. This was actually pretty handy. You can return another land you control to your hand when you play this, and if you do, you surveil 1. And you actually can pay when you tap it, it taps for 2 colorless, which is cool. This actually is really good because you can bring a desert back to your hand to then play it again, which you want to, again, cycle deserts and get them back and be able to play them another time. So this is actually really handy. Grasping Dunes is good. Again, this can sacrifice itself, so you can tap for colorless. You can also pay 1 and sack it to put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. But if you recur this, you can keep doing that, and it actually is pretty good. I have taken some creatures from threats to less threats, or gotten like indestructible creatures kind of brought down a little bit, closer to death, that kind of stuff. Dunes of the Dead, you tap for colorless. When it's put into a graveyard, you can create a 2/2 zombie. We're going to be sacking lands quite a bit, so that's a thing. So we will get zombies from this, potentially not a lot, but maybe some. Endless Sands, taps for colorless. You can pay 2 and exile a creature you control. And then you can pay 4 and sacrifice Endless Sands and return each creature card exiled with Endless Sands to the battlefield under its owner's control. I have this, aside from it being a desert, it actually can be good if you need to save something. So this is kind of like a version of Safe Haven, which is an older card. I don't even know how often that's been reprinted, but Safe Haven's kind of the same thing where you can essentially exile a card or a creature onto the land, and then sacrifice the land and get those creatures back. It's pretty cool. So it has saved a couple creatures from like a board wipe, but you can really only save like 1 at a time. So it's kind of a oh poop button if you need it. Next is Cradle of the Accursed. You can tap for colorless, and then you can also sack it and make a zombie, which is good. And then finally, I love the art on this one, and it's also really good. Scavenger Grounds. This is just good in a lot of decks, period. But Scavenger Grounds taps for colorless, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice any desert that you have and exile all graveyards. You gotta be careful when you choose to play this, because sometimes you don't want to exile your graveyard because you're putting lands into it and bringing them back. But if you do have somebody that is also playing a graveyard deck and you don't want them bringing things back, it is kind of a you're kind of power checking them throughout the game, which is nice. So we talked about lands and deserts, and we have a lot of them. So now, how do we get them onto the battlefield? So we'll go through kind of the land tutoring type stuff, and what we're going to do here. And remember, every time a desert comes in, we're making 2 sand warriors, right? So we want to get them into the battlefield, and then we also want to do things when the lands come in as well, potentially. So the first card is Open the Way. This is X and 2 green. X can't be greater than the number of players in the game, and you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X land cards. Doesn't matter if it's a basic or a desert in this case. Put those land cards onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's really, really good. The next one is Hour of Promise. This one is a 4 and a green, and you search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And again, land cards can be deserts or anything else. Then, if you create 3 or more deserts, create 2 black 2/2 zombie creature tokens. Almost always, that's going to trigger by this point in the game.
So good, so good.
It's really good.
I
And
forgot
on
about
top
that
of
Guardian.
on top of the 2 zombies, you're also getting 4 sand warriors at the same time. So it is really, really good. You're getting 6 creatures off that card almost every time. The next one is Outcaster Greenblade. This dude has actually like been pretty threatening. He's a 3-drop for 2 and a green. When he enters, you search your library for a basic land or a desert, and you put it in your hand. So, not to the battlefield, so not great. But he does get +1/+1 for each desert you control. So if you play him late game, he's definitely going to be at least +1/+1 if you haven't gotten any deserts out. But chances are when you're playing this guy, he's probably going to be like a 4/5 or larger. He doesn't have any like evasion or anything, but he definitely has been a great blocker for me. He's also somewhat threatening, so people have held back to be able to block him if he were to swing in. The next one is Map the Frontier. Really basic. It's a 4-drop, 3 and a green, and you search your library for up to 2 basics or 2 deserts, and you put them on the battlefield tapped. Then you shuffle. And then the final one, I love this card. It's just really cool. And this is where we get into like some of the funky kind of like land shenanigans that you can do with this deck. And it's called Ruin Ghost. This has never been reprinted, at least that I know of. Ruin Ghost is from World Wake, and it is a 2-drop, 1 and a white spirit. It's a 1/1, and you can pay a plains and tap him, and then you exile target land you control, then return it to the battlefield. So it blinks lands. Going back to some of the deserts, they have enter the battlefield triggers. It also would trigger your sand warriors, so you would get 2 more sand warriors. It's really good. Like, this is a newer add to the deck, but it is very, very cool. It's a very unique effect. There's nothing that really blinks lands specifically. So it is very unique, and it's in white, and it's an uncommon, and it's 30 cents. So
that is so good. Like, there's so many
funny.
use cases you can do that for. You can do that for Arid Archway. You could do this for like Surveil lands. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it saved my land one time too. Someone was trying to blow up. You'll see in a minute one of the cards that I have in here, and I just blinked it, and it was awesome. It was
Great with Field of the Dead too, by the way.
You could blink Field of the Dead. Yeah.
Well, you don't even have to blink Field of the Dead, but you just get an extra zombie.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Really good.
It's cool. The next cards are kind of landfall cards. So basic tireless provisioner. We all know her. We all love her. When a land enters, you create a food or a treasure. Super handy. The food saved my butt. The treasures help me do other things. It's just an all around great card. The next one, I love this dude. He's just such a little goober. Tannic Memorial Ensign, 2/4 Kabu Pilot, 1 and a Gruul. Got landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, he deals 1 damage to each opponent, which is already awesome. But if it's the second time it resolves each turn, you draw a card. He's really good. He draws a lot of cards in this deck, so it's really, really great. And the next one is just really, really, really bad in this deck if it's out and you don't do something about it, which is Felidar Retreat. Felidar Retreat is a enchantment for 3 and a white, and it has landfall. Whenever a land enters, you choose one. You either create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, which actually sometimes is good, or you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and they all get vigilance until end of turn. Which late game, if this goes off with the number of sand warriors that I can create in a turn, it is not good. Not good times. And they can get real big. And there's also, I mean, I've turned around 20 plus sand warriors in a turn with this deck. So it can get pretty nasty. So now that we have our creatures, or now that we have lands and what we're doing with lands entering the battlefield, we want to talk a bit more about some of the other land shenanigans that we're going to do here. So the first group is simply just playing more lands per turn, which I would say should be no surprise to anybody. But the first card is Exploration. We all know it. I'm not going to go crazy into this one. It's 1 green. You can play another land, enchantment. It's great. Classic. It's a good card to just have. Also, it came in the freaking Dragons of Dragonstorm precon, which was like 100% a reason to buy that precon. I'm pretty sure, right? It was in the Sultai precon.
The most recent printing is just Dominaria.
Oh, Dominaria. Okay. No, I'm thinking of a different card that was silly that they put in Dragonstorm. But yeah, it's good. It's a good card. I own one of them, and this is the deck I choose to put it in. The next one is our favorite lady, Azusa. This just goes nuts if you have other things we're going to get to, in addition to playing 2 extra lands per turn. The next one, this card actually is like not cheap like it used to be. I think it kind of snuck in with some other decks or something. I don't know. But it's Mina and Den Wildborn. Mina and Den is 2 in Gruul for an elf ally, 4/4. You can play an additional land on each of your turns, which is great. This is also a great ability, which is you can pay Gruul and return a land to its owner's hand, and target creature you control gains trample until end of turn. It's really good.
Pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I've not seen that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. And this is kind of in this realm of like you can play an extra land, but then you can also get your land back to do another thing. Like you could get that land back, and that could be your second land for turn. And there's actually a really cool Dex card that I was really excited about when it got released, which is our boy Zell Dinkelheimer Schmidt. He's from Final Fantasy, so all the Final Fantasy people are like, his name is... They're going to blow me up like they did about Farewell. It's 2 in a red. He's a 0/3 human monk. You can play an extra land on your turn, which is already cool. He gets +1/+0 for each land you control. Also pretty cool. The ability that I actually like about this is at the beginning of your end step, you return a land to its owner's hand. So you have to return a land to your hand. But that guarantees you a land drop the next turn. If you have another land in your hand, it guarantees you 2 lands or more, for that next turn. And then he can get pretty beefy too. I don't really ever swing with him. I'm using him for the other 2 abilities, but he can get pretty big. And then the final one is just goofy, and I love it to death. And it's a card called Hollowed Ground. And this card is from Ice Age, and it is 1 in a white, and you can pay 2 white and just return target non-snow-covered land you control to owner's hand. That's all it does at instant speed. So this has saved some of my lands, but also if I have land up and I make it through, the last end step or whatever, I'll just bring a land back to my hand if I have 2 white, and then I have a land the next turn to put down to make more sand warriors. The next group is kind of more. It's in the land sacrifice category. So how are we like getting rid of lands? And we'll start with some of the basics. We got crop rotation. We won't spend a ton of time on that, but it's a staple. We have a couple of my favorite elves in the or actually no, one's an elf, one's not an elf, but Elvish Reclaimer. If you don't have an Elvish Reclaimer, get one. They're awesome. It does so much work in any deck that cares about lands. You just can get so many lands from him, and also he can be a 3/4. That's cool. But it's a really good card. The next one is Sylvan Safekeeper. You do want to kind of protect Hazezon. He kind of sneaks under the radar. A lot of people like target other things, or they don't like really pick on him. But in the event someone did decide to, this has saved him a couple times, and it's just a great little card in a sack land deck, anyways. If you know me, you know it's going to be in here. I have Constant Miss in here. It's just amazing. So get one and play it, and you will know why. It's a great card. The next one will surprise both Jared and Zach, but I have Goblin Trenches in here. Goblin Trenches is an enchantment. It is 1 and Boros, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice a land to make 2 red and white Goblin Soldier creature tokens.
I never hear you want to hear. I never want to hear you talk bad about goblins again.
Hey,
You're
they're
not-
red and white, man. They're red and white.
Goblin
They've been enlisted. They've been domesticated. They're not wild, stinky boys. They're armor-clad, law-abiding goblins.
Is this the only red and white goblin creature the tokens at least that it generates? Is that a unique to this card thing?
No, there were a couple red and white goblins from Ravnica. Because they had the whole like Boros, Boros like enlists all the creatures in Rav.
Yeah, there's Rise of the Hobgoblins, which was an Eventide. That's a Boros.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a fun one. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun, and you don't have to tap it or anything. So it is kind of a mana sink too. You can just make a bunch of goblins, and this is a token deck. I mean, I'm not going to call it what it isn't. So it is a token deck, and it does matter to have more stuff on the board.
It is very
especially
unique. I
late
like
game.
this.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The next one is Aggressive Mining. This card scares me every time I play it. But late game, it's not the end of the world, and with some of the other things we can do with lands, not having to play them, but just putting them into play, like not playing them from your hand, but just like putting them onto the battlefield. You can kind of skirt around it a little bit. But I have had to remove this with a Beast Within before, because I definitely shouldn't have played it and did. Yeah.
This
Cool
is
piece
a
of
card
flavor and
that
trivia.
This card scares the heck out of new Magic players. They're like, "What? Why? Why would you ever do this?" I love it.
Is the Magic trivia that this card was made by the guy that made Minecraft?
Yeah, made by Notch.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it was designed by
So
him.
on the bottom of the original printing, instead of flavor text, it says designed by Marcus Pearson.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
There was a
there's
cycle
a few
of cards from Magic 2015, I think, that are similar.
Yeah, there was the Elvish Bard. He was designed by Brian Fargo, who made Fallout and Wasteland and those games. There was another one that was designed by oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. They were like a big YouTube group back in the day. Yeah, we'll have to look them up. But yeah, there's a few of them. Okay, moving on. The next one is Zurin Orb. Have you checked the price on this recently? This is crazy, dude. Look at how much Zurin Orb is now. It's $7 for this copy.
Reprints. reprints.
And look at how much the original Goofy like Ice Age art is. 640. Like, I remember you couldn't like give this to people at one point in time. They would like hate you if you gave them a Zurin orb, and now it's like this sought after thing. It's so funny.
Windgrace and Hearthhole, I'm sure, have like the most.
Yeah, it was the Edge of Eternity's precon for sure.
Yep.
The next one is I love this card. I run it in a lot of decks, or try to, because it's just again, it's another card people don't know about, and it does a really cool thing, which is Aura Fracture. Aura Fracture is a 2 and white drop enchantment, common from Prophecy, which again, like, just a very broken set. Sack a land, destroy an enchantment. It's really good.
Whoa.
And yeah, at instant speed, just sack a land, get rid of an enchantment. And it's only a quarter. So again, like, this is another, and it's a Rebecca Gay art
I was gonna say, is that a
card,
Rebecca Gay? Yep.
which is like, everything about this card is great. The art, the effect, everything. It's awesome. I'd pick some up if you don't have them. They're really, really good. And then also, if you're into foils in this era, the foil version of it actually isn't too bad. The price on there is wrong, but it's like, it's like $15.
$15, yeah.
Which for Prophecy foils, Prophecy is like a set that usually the foils are way, way, way more expensive. So it's not too bad.
Yep.
The next one is this goofy dude, Sprouting Goblin. Sprouting Goblin is 1 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Druid. He has Kicker for green. You can pay 1 green as Kicker. And when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, search your library for a land card with a basic land type, reveal it, put it in your hand, which is cool. But what I'm really using him for is you can pay red, tap him, sack a land to draw a card. It's handy. He's a good dude. The next
goblin.
one, another goblin. I mean,
Goblin count is now at 2.
Don't tell me I can't change. The next one is this one's kind of niche, but it is actually kind of cool. Again, we want to put lands in our graveyard in different ways. So I put in Tectonic Reformation. This is a 1 and red drop enchantment. Each land card in your hand has cycling with red. So you can pay 1 red and cycle the land. And this card itself has cycling as well. So if you didn't really care, it's late game, whatever, you could just cycle it. But it actually is worth putting it in, because cycling all your deserts, if you have anything that can bring them back from the graveyard, is super relevant. This next one is also really cool. It's again from Prophecy, and it is a Therese Nielsen. So, Jared, looking at you, this is Troubled Healer. She is very troubled. But Troubled Healer is a 2 and white drop, 1/2 cleric. And she has, when you can sacrifice the land at instant speed and prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to target creature or player this turn. This actually has saved Hazezon. It has lessened damage to me. It's actually pretty good. And with what you'll see later on, it can do some silly stuff with a couple other cards in the deck. So it's pretty good. This next one is also just like, I don't know, Prophecy was just this really cool land sacrifice set. If you're not familiar with it, there's a lot of cards in Prophecy that let you sack lands across all the colors. So this next one is a card from Prophecy. It's a rare called Jeweled Spirit. Jeweled Spirit is a 3 and 2 white drop, so 5 drop, 3/3 Spirit with flying. And with Jeweled Spirit, you can sacrifice 2 lands at instant speed, and it gains protection from artifacts or from the color of your choice until end of turn. This is really good for a lot of reasons. It can live through a lot of stuff. It can swing in late game if you're getting Felidar retreat triggers and other stuff that we'll see in a second. going. It can swing in and just not be blockable. It's really cool, and it's very unique. There are very few cards in the game with an activated ability that is sacrifice more than one land. So you have to sacrifice two, but it's actually it's exactly what we need sometimes, which is really cool. The next one is this one also has spiked quite a bit. Need for Speed. Need for Speed is a 1 red drop enchantment, and it just says sack a land, creature gets haste. That's all it does. But we really just need it for the sack outlet. The haste is cool. Don't get me wrong. There are times where having haste is not bad for some of the things in the deck, but really we're trying to use it for that land sack.
I have feedback. This does not increase my speed.
And the feedback truly is that they didn't reprint this in Aether Drift. But
that's such a flavor miss.
I know.
Is this reserve list or something?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think so. It's Odyssey. I don't think. Maybe it could be.
It's never been reprinted.
You could check in research. It'll tell you in the research page if it's
yeah, I have a research page open up in another tab.
Yeah, you can check it out.
I'm in hot pursuit of this card. I need it.
No, it is not. It is not reserve list. It's just never been reprinted.
Yeah, it's just goofy, dude. Like, it's such a weird, just why not card. I don't know. Like, but when I got this card, it was another one of those cards that I think spiked because of Edge of Eternities. I think I bought this for less than $1. Like, it was again like a rare that no one. So,
I like this one a lot. I need a copy.
It's good. It's good. The next few, these are the ones that care about lands leaving the battlefield. So the first one is Sand Scout. Sand Scout does have a tutor effect. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you can search for a desert and put it on the battlefield tapped. It's nice, and I have used it, especially when someone gets their 3 lands out on turn 2, yada yada yada. This has gotten me a desert and got me back on par with the rest of the table. The effect that we're really diving into on this one, though, is whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature token. So you make one of these guys with it. The next one is my boy Yuma. Yuma is just a beast if he goes off. He costs 1 less for each land card in your graveyard, which you can easily get him down to 3 if you had a sack outlet. When he enters or attacks, you can sack a land if you do draw a card. And whenever a desert is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you create a 4/2 green plant warrior creature token with reach. Yep, you can do that a lot of different ways, especially just when you are entering or attacking. You can draw and then make a 4/2, and you can get deserts into your graveyard pretty easy, as we've seen. The next one is Titania, Protector of Argoth, sorry. 3 and 2 green for a 5/3 elemental legendary creature. When she enters, you return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Super handy. You can make a Sand Warrior with her, or 2. And then whenever a land is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. And again, that from the battlefield, a little less awesome, but still good. And you can definitely make a lot of creature tokens. So this next one is I should put it in the WinCon pile because it is really, really, really good when it comes out. So it's Desert Warfare. Desert Warfare has a lot of text on it, but it's a 3 and 1 green drop enchantment. And it says, whenever you sacrifice a desert, And whenever a desert card is put into your graveyard from your hand or library, put that card onto the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more deserts, 5 or more, create that many 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature tokens, and they gain haste.
Wow.
So let me just
Wow.
show you what this card does, because it's kind of silly. I have actually won the game with this card with Zurin Orb because I had an opponent that was swinging in every turn for like 40 damage, or like 30 damage or something. And I would just simply sack all my deserts, gain 30 or 40 life, and then I would get them all back at the beginning of the next end step. And then Hazezon was out, so I was making like 20 or 30 Sand Warriors. And he couldn't kill me because he didn't have artifact removal, he didn't have enchantment removal. So I just essentially stalled the game until I just swarmed him. I think I attacked with like 80 Sand Warriors or something like that. It's crazy.
Insane.
So it's really, really good. When I read it, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you can just sack all your stuff and get it all back. And then obviously you get at least 5 Sand Warriors every combat. So
At
it's
least
really
10,
good.
right? Oh, I get
Well,
no,
yeah, sorry.
combat, yeah.
No, well, it's 5 from this, but you can get 10 because we're going to actually talk about our next category, which are token doublers. So we only have a few of these. I didn't want to go too crazy because you can. But we have Parallel Lives. Parallel Lives is 3 and a green. If any effect would put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many onto the battlefield instead, which it's good. Next one is the white version, Anointed Procession. Same thing, just in white. 3 and 1 white. Doubles your tokens. Any tokens, which we found out with Jared's bird deck. And then the final one, the Piece de Resistance, is the new Dragon Storm Elspeth. Storm Slayer, 3 and 2 white. If 1 or more tokens would be created, twice that many are created instead. And then you can +1 her for a 1/1 soldier, which really you're making 2. You can 0 her, which is actually what I end up usually using her for, is I just do the 0 and put a 1/1 counter on each creature, and they all gain flying until your next turn, which is awesome. And then you can -3 her and destroy a creature with mana value 3 or greater, which I have used. It is nice to have that in your back pocket. And then there's a couple creatures entering, do things. So only 2. We have Impact Tremors because I love that card. I might put Donatello, or not Donatello, Raphael in here. And I also have Terror of the Peaks because, of course, it's amazing. But that's it. I don't have really any other enter the battlefield stuff. That's pretty much it. And then we do have a lot of tokens, right? So we have some kind of token support cards, like things we want to leverage with our tokens. So the first one, to no surprise, we do have Skull Clamp in here, especially early game. Like we don't have a ton of draw in this deck. We're really relying on sort of top decking, searching obviously for deserts. And a lot of the stuff does kind of inherently have value. But Skull Clamp is great, and a couple other cards have some draw ability, but this can draw us a lot of cards throughout the game, especially early game. The next one is Fanatical Devotion, which is awesome. It's a 2 and white drop enchantment from Nemesis. It's a common, and it just simply says you sacrifice a creature, you regenerate target creature. So it's again kind of a protection blanket for Hazezon or some of the other creatures in the deck that you might not want to die right at that point. But you can easily expend a Sand Warrior to regenerate one of them. The next one is kind of similar, but it is a one-time deal. It's a card called Scapegoat. Scapegoat is an instant that costs 1 white, and it simply says when you cast it, you sacrifice a creature and you return any number of target creatures you control to their owner's hands. So it's good. And again, like kind of in a pinch, if something happened, someone's trying to board wipe, Hazezon's been taken out a few times maybe, and you just are sick of paying tax, you could sack a Sand Warrior and return him and any other creatures that you really don't want to lose to your hand, which is handy, pun intended. The next one is Welcoming Vampire. This can draw a lot of cards. I will be super honest here. So Welcoming Vampire is 2 and a white for a 2/3 flying vampire. The flying is also so relevant. I can't stress enough how much I die to flying with other decks. So, but whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. It only triggers once each turn, but there are some tricky ways to instant speed out deserts, to make Sand Warriors, to draw on other people's turns. So it's pretty good. It's not a bad card, and it's again drawn me a lot of cards. The next one is Greater Good, and you might be asking, dude, why do you have this in here? um, Primarily because later on with something else we'll go over, it actually is a pretty big deal. But it is nice if you are getting board wiped to have something like this, because you could sacrifice some stuff to just draw as opposed to just losing everything during a board wipe scenario. So it is a nice card. It has done some good for me over the years. And when you get creatures that are bigger, it definitely pays off. And we were making 4/2 plants, we were making 5/3 elementals. We'll see that maybe our Sand Warriors get bigger, right? So it definitely can draw you, and the 3-card discard clause isn't as much of a pain as it may seem. And then the next piece here is I'm thinking about scratching her, but it's Maha Bredegard Protector. Kind of pricey, kind of awkward. It's 2 green and 2 white for a human warrior, and she gives all other creatures +1/+1. And whenever a land enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 white human warrior creature token. So it's okay. She's a 2/3. I've never really had her come out and been like, man, this just really made the game for me. Most of the time, she just sits in my hand and rots. So I've thought about changing her out for something else. But I'm kind of a sucker for the Kaldheim metal art, and the abilities are cool, and it seemed okay at the time. So this is kind of on the chopping block, unfortunately. The next one is from Spider-Man, which is Silk Webweaver. 2 and Celestia. It has web slinging for 1 Celestia, which is okay. You could use a Sand Warrior to get that out. But really what we're looking for here is 2 things. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you create a 1/1 human citizen. That's okay. But the bigger one is you can pay 3 and Celestia and give all creatures +2/+2 and vigilance until end of turn. So that's kind of what we're doing here, is we're using this to beef up our creatures and give them vigilance, which is, again, pretty relevant. The next one is Rise, the Redeemed. He is hybrid green-white, 1. You can pay 2 and hybrid Celestia and tap him to put a 1/1 green and white elf warrior creature into play. You can also pay 4 and green-white hybrid ×2 and tap him to essentially double or put a token into play that's a copy of every other creature token you have. So you double your tokens effectively, your creature tokens. It's really good. I've only ever resolved it like 2 times because when people figure out what it does, they try to get rid of it pretty quickly. And then the last one in this packet is this one's cool. Dude, I didn't know this card existed. I was like browsing a binder at Card Traders of Austin, and I ran into this and I was like, what is this card? It's called Sandstorm Salvager. And Sandstorm Salvager is a 2 and a green drop, 1/1 human artificer. When she comes into play, you create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. This should go on your Brenner deck, Jared. And then you can pay 2 and tap it to put a 1/1 counter on each creature token you control, and they all gain trample until end of turn.
That is so good.
Right.
It's really good.
I'm telling you, big score, like the bonus sheet from Outlaws.
It's good, dude. There's some bangers.
I feel like every single card in that is so undervalued.
Bangers, dude.
Cents too. My God. All right.
Yeah,
I'm in.
That's down too. I think I bought it for $3.
All right.
And I think it was honestly probably because no one really like knew about it, and it's from the bonus sheet, so like I think there's maybe less of them floating around out there. I don't know. So that's kind of like what to do with the tokens. And then the last piece, kind of in the spirit of getting lands out and doing things with deserts before we get into the final batch, are just play from graveyard cards, because we do get rid of a lot of lands, so we got to have a way to get them back somewhat effectively. So we have Ramanep Excavator, our fun snake boy, 2/3. You can play land cards from your graveyard. It's Crucible Worlds on a stick, which leads us to Crucible Worlds not on a stick, and that's just a 3-drop artifact that lets you play lands from your graveyard, followed up by its artifact dog companion, which is Perennial Behemoth, which is a 5-drop artifact beast creature from Brothers War. Brothers War has some killer cards, dude. Like, if you haven't checked out Brothers War in a minute, just go back through the set. There's a ton of stuff in there that is actually worth getting, and it's not expensive, because a lot of people just kind of poo-pooed on that set. It's kind of like the Ether Drift before Ether Drift. But this one has Unearth for 2 green, which is cool. It's a 2/7, which is really nice. It's got a lot of blocking power, and you can play lands from your graveyard. Yeah, big butts, no whammies. And then the next one is Ancient Green Warden. This card is really good in this deck. It's a 4 and 2 green elemental 5/7 with reach. You can play lands from your graveyard, but the next ability is really good. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control the trigger, it triggers an additional time. So it double triggers Hazezon, which is really good. And then the final one, I love this little dude. He's just so fun. His name's Dune Chanter, and he's really good. He's a 2 and green drop, 2/3 plant druid, just chilling in the desert, having a great time. He's got reach. I love that all the plant warriors have reach. I think that's just kind of fun. Like, I imagine them like shooting, cactus needles at people. Lands you control and land cards you own that aren't on the battlefield are deserts in addition to their other types. So if you have basics that you've sacked for like crop rotation, or you've discarded them, or they've gone into your graveyard for some reason, you can actually use this with Hazezon to bring them back, because it turns your lands into deserts that are in the graveyard. And then
also
all your lands,
your basic land tutors into desert tutors.
Correct. That's also true. You can also tutor for basics as if they were deserts. And then lands you control have it's Chromatic Lantern, so they can tap for any color. And then on top of all of that, you can also tap it and mill 2 cards, and you gain a life for each land you've milled that way. That is actually really good in this deck, Because you can just mill every turn, gain a life maybe, but put stuff into the yard to bring back with Hazezon. Because every land you put in there at this point is a desert, right? So it's really good. All right, let's get to our win cons and then we'll wrap up. So win cons for this deck, I would say that Desert Warfare is a win con for sure. If that hits the field late game, it's gonna be tough, especially if Zurin Orb is out. But the win cons that I set aside, the first one is our favorite Halo Fountain. Halo Fountain is a 2 and white drop artifact. You can pay white and tap it to untap a tapped creature you control to create a 1/1 citizen. You can pay 2 white, tap Halo Fountain, and untap 2 tapped creatures you control to draw a card. And then you can pay 5 white, tap Halo Fountain, untap 15 tapped creatures you control, and then you just win the game. And I have one with this card, and it's awesome.
Yep. I was there. I lost that.
The next one, yes. The next one is a twofer. And we'll start with the first part of it, which is Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Why do we have that in here, you might ask? I turn everything into forests. And then, with all the things I have, I cast Nature's Cloak. Nature's Cloak gives all green creatures Forest Walk until end of turn. So late game, I'll just throw down a Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, throw down Nature's Cloak, and then I'll just swing in to whoever's left and finish the game out. The next one, you could kind of couple in a lot of different ways, but this card is really not good, but this deck makes it so good. It is a card from, I think, New Alara called Knight of New Alara. Knight of New Alara costs 2 in Celestia. It's a human knight, 2/2. And then what it says is each other multicolored creature you control gets +1/+1 for each of its colors. Our Sand Warriors are red, green, and white creatures. So this turns all of our Sand Warriors into 4/4s.
Wow.
Just like that. And yeah, it's really good. And I do hold on to it. I don't cast it right away because, again, like, a lot of people don't know what this card is. Like, it's not a very used card. And B, when you put it out and then you explain that all of these Sand Warriors, which by the time you're playing this, you probably have 6, 8, maybe more Sand Warriors out, it is like the biggest threat on the board, 100%. So if this goes out, like, you got to be ready to end it. But it is a very good card in this deck.
Another Rebecca Gay, right?
No, this is Chris Ron, I'm sorry. And then the final one is it's just a fun way to win. It's a card called Epic Struggle. And Epic Struggle is 2 and 2 green. And it just simply says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more creatures, you win the game. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
Very doable.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So
especially
yeah,
if you have the Desert Warfare out, you could do this on someone's end before someone's end step. If you didn't have the creatures, sack all the lands and then get a bunch of them. Right?
Yeah. It's at the beginning of your next end step. So
of your next end step? Oh, okay. I thought it was the next end step.
No. But you could do some silly stuff. You could probably find some ways to get stuff out at someone's end step. But that's kind of like my mini game that I play. I actually haven't won with Epic Struggle. I've gotten close because I've gotten it out, and then people are like, "Oh crap!" Like, I don't play it till I have 20 on the board, at least. So at that point, like, somebody's got to find a board wipe, or someone's got to remove that. And every time, typically, they board wipe. and then it's not hard to get back to 20, but they'll find, people find a way to get rid of that or just take me out, one or the other. So
Yeah.
my guy, it's a really fun deck. It's a unique play on landfall that I really enjoy. It kind of breaks the landfall pie, if in a way, like it's not just traditional landfall. It's tokeny, it's fun, you get to play fun things. It really cares about getting just recurring deserts and getting deserts out with haste, with post haste. So it's fun, a lot of fun.
Very cool. No, I like this deck a lot. I've played this a few times. It's always very interesting. I've lost a Halo Fountain at least once. Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
Nicely
Jared, what
done,
do you
dude.
think, dude?
Well, I've gotten my butt whooped by this deck several times, so I'm a little salty about it. But as per usual, it in true Ian fashion, it comes out of nowhere and just wrecks your life, and then sends you a letter in the mail reminding you so.
With an invoice.
Yeah, and like talking through it too, like there's cards in here I really think, because I haven't really tried to tune it in a minute, and like there's cards in here. I was actually tempted to do some tuning before tonight, but I know I sent you the deck list. But I think there's some stuff I'm going to swap out just to, I think, lean more into just like the recursion and like getting land, like removing lands and bringing lands. Like I might put escape shift in there or something like that, just so I can kind of cash in on a lot of those like lands going to the graveyard thing, plus lands coming in stuff.
Ooh, there was a. Keep going.
And then I'm also considering putting in like Amulet of Vigor. Because the one thing that kind of does bite me in the butt with this deck is that a lot of the deserts come in tapped.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the gate deck where like, you have to build a little bit into that. And unlike the gate deck, there's not a desert that makes deserts come in untapped. There is a gate that does that. And that gate is always usually what I will search for first, so I can just not have to worry about that stupid line of text.
There's
but yeah,
Spelunking. Spelunking is good.
Spelunking's great. Amulet of Vigor is cool. There's also the new dude from Famished Worldsire is cool. I actually thought about putting that in.
Yeah, this was like my first thought in terms of like a cool synergy, because you get to sacrifice any number of your lands, then you get pretty much every other land out of your deck.
Yeah, also Cultivator Colossus is like it's one of those cards that I always like put in to a deck. I had it in gates for like a minute, and then I took it out because it's like good, but it's just not good enough to where I feel like it's really gonna pop off. But when it enters, you put a land card in from your hand onto the battlefield, and if you do it, you draw a card and you repeat the process. So if you want to play this ideally with like a couple lands in your hand already, because you can't play from the graveyard either. That's the other draw that I'm not a big fan of with this one, is like you are limited to your hand. But it's cool. Like I picked one up when it came out because I was like, this could be good, but it's never really done anything. So maybe someday.
A lot of places to go with this one.
Yeah, and this actually, I haven't really futzed with this too much since Edge of Eternities came out. I added a couple things for like token support, like Silk. I obviously put Tanuk in there from Edge because he's just awesome.
Cool,
but I think there's some other cards that I should probably think about putting in there.
Love it.
Earthbend. Start Earthbend.
Great deck. I feel like we need to do a replay with Hazezon and Birds. Just to get a better chance, better.
We should. That'd be a fun matchup too, because I know. You're making a ton of tokens. Although, this deck does have some ways to just sack creatures, so you gotta think about that. But it's stacking for really my purposes, not to like do anything to anybody else really.
Yep.
What we could
Yeah.
do is we could have like a year-end game where like people choose the deck they want to see get a second
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I will be
that'd be fun.
taking birds to MagicCon and playing it quite a bit. So, and I did some
Oh, yeah.
upgrades after we played that I want to try out and see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Alrighty.
yeah, that's it. That's the deck.
Take us out,
Thanks.
man.
I'll take us out. Yeah. So again, thanks for everyone for sticking around. Those that did. We got another week of cast under our belt. Yeah, just thanking everybody for coming out. You know, you have a lot of things you could do on a Thursday night, and hanging out with us is very, very awesome that you do that. We'll be back next week. Next week's a pretty big week because Jared is ramping up to go to MagicCon.
Yep.
So the week after that, he'll be back with probably some fun things to share and talk about, and it'll be really cool to see how that goes. The site's coming along. We got a lot of cool updates in the pipeline for the site, which
Site's
we're
gotten
really
my
excited.
favorite update so far, I think.
I mean,
Spoil it. Don't spoil it.
we're not going to spoil anything. There's some big updates that came out. You can already test them today. And there's also some updates that are looking pretty good that I think we'll have out sooner than later, hopefully. That should really set the site into a place where it's very, very different than what else is out there. So it's pretty cool.
Love it.
Yeah, it's fun times. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Zach. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Oh, that's right. Zach, real quick. Sorry, dude. Can you let me send you a link? I forgot I needed to do this. I wanted to, so we do this every week, and these guys take up so much of their time talking to me on the phone, dealing with my BS. It's just like constant, like, oh God, Ian's calling me again. We're talking about Magic more. Like, what is going on now? And
What a chore.
on top of all that,
God, I hate to talk about my
Jared-
favorite hobby with my bestest friends,
Jared a couple weeks ago was like, oh, I'm going to be the bestest mensch, and I'm going to buy you, a $40 version of your favorite commander card so you can play it in your commander deck. Well, sir, I will only return favors when I can return favors. And since I learned that gifting is your love language, I have sent Zach a link to open up to share on screen, a token of my gratitude to you, sir, for all that you've done for me over the past year. I purchased you a Mimeoplasm Wizard of Barge playmat that you can now just jam out with, because I know two things about you: that you say you're a Sultai player, but you are not a Sultai player, but you do love Mimeoplasm, and I always see you wearing Wizard of Barge. So I appreciate you, dude. This has been an awesome adventure that we've been on, and I know hopefully you'll get to jam this playmat and have a good time with it. So appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Ian. Like, Mimeoplasm was my first commander deck ever. It was in the first set of precons. It was the first deck I retooled. I have it almost identical to what it was in 2011. The only thing I've added is I got the Slimer Mimeoplasm because it's actually a bit cheaper than the Wizard of Barge one. And so, yeah, that warms my heart, man. I will use this until it is, until it disintegrates into a mess of rubber and silicone. Man, is it going to get here before Vegas or no?
I don't know. I just found they just restocked it today.
Because I know Barge is going to be there. which would
I
have been
know,
cool.
and I did I included a message on my order in the hopes that it would be seen and possibly prioritized, but I don't know. I'm not putting any stock into that these days.
I think
would be
Wizard of
But
Barge is Houston based, if I remember correctly.
Is he
oh yeah,
really? My
I think
my
so.
place at home? Oh my gosh. Okay.
crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
Ian, you're the best. You didn't have to do it, and I
I
know
know.
you put thought and care into what you did, and it has been sold out. And I did want that playmat, and so you know,
Well, so I had to almost kind of make up for the fact too that I had Jared's wife buy him a playmat for his birthday that he already owned. Um, and that was apparently a really awkward situation for his birthday. So I kind of felt like I also had to make it up to you for that. So anyways,
I mean,
cool. Well,
I'll take as many Wizard of Barge and Bob Ross playmats as I can get, repeats or
yeah, dude.
otherwise. Let's
Yeah,
go.
man. Totally, totally. All right.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
cool.
Ian.
Let's let everybody go to bed. Thanks everyone for joining again.
Thanks,
Another
man.
great night. And we love all of you. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your night, great weekend, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
See y'all later.
Bye.